I'm Angela Guido, the founder of MBA Protocol, where we help people like you get into the MBA programs of their dreams. You would not be alone if the New York schools were high on your list. If you're interested in getting your MBA in one of the world's most vibrant and exciting cities, then NYU needs to be at the top of your list. I'm gonna keep this video really simple and help you focus in on the one thing that candidates get really wrong when they're applying to NYU. It's not the change blanket essay, although I still don't quite understand why NYU keeps this essay year after year. It's one of the hardest ones for our clients to answer in a meaningful and unique way. It also just really makes me want to think in expletives. Maybe that's just me personally. But this essay is actually your creative chance to tell a story about how you've grown in your life. It's actually a pretty straightforward essay when you get right down to it, so I'm not going to dig any more into that. I'm also not really even going to dig into the personal expression or the Pick 6 essay, because that's your chance to show them the broader story of your life in whatever way you like. They're giving you only a few words and 6 photographs. I've seen all kinds of choices work in an essay like this. Everything from pictures of yourself at various ages, to pictures of things in your life that are important to you, to pictures of other people, to pictures that symbolize things that have been important to you. And then using the narrative that you can construct with those 6 pictures in any which way you can imagine. You want to do what feels best to you, what most represents the most important aspects of your candidacy to the school. And when I say the most important aspects of your candidacy, I really mean the most important aspects of your character, your personality, and your life story, who you are and how you came to be the person that you are. So I'm not going to dig any deeper into those essays. What I'm going to talk about instead is the interview. Because both of the New York schools, both Columbia, as I talk about in this video here, and NYU, are really concerned about 2 things, which is really just one thing. They want to make sure that you can actually get the job that you want post-MBA. Just think about it. You're in New York. It's like you're a kid in a candy store. Every industry, every type of company at every scale, startup to multi-billion dollars, legacy, hundreds of year old corporations, they're all right there in New York. And you don't have to work in New York post-MBA. You can go anywhere in the world. So it's going to be really easy to get lost in the shuffle, to be overwhelmed by the options, to not be ready to seize the opportunities that the school presents that are innumerable and unfathomable. If you really want to be able to succeed in converting your MBA education into a career you truly love, then you have to be ready from day one to do that. That doesn't mean that you can't change your mind about what you want your goals to be once you get to school. It just means that you have to have a plan. So Columbia's primary essays focus on what are your goals, what do you want to do, and how is Columbia going to help you? NYU almost entirely omits that from their application. They have only one short answer question that says, in 150 words, what are your short-term career goals? They're asking you to lay out the first part of your career game plan in that short answer. But this is where they're going to spend a lot of time talking with you in the interview. They're really going to work to validate several things. First of all, that you know who you are and what you want. Having a solid career game plan is not about being able to predict the future. It's about having great self-knowledge now, so that when you talk about what you want in the future, it relates to who you already know that you are. Of course, you're going to explore different options during the MBA program, but having an idea of what your priorities are, what are your sine qua nons, what is really important to you in your post-MBA career, that's a question you should be able to answer right now. even before you submit your application. So it starts with understanding that you know who you are and you know what you want. The second thing they're testing is to understand that you kind of know how the working world and the recruiting world works. That you're not in a pipe dream about wanting to transition to a really competitive industry that requires advanced finance skills when you are coming from a background with no quantitative skills and no exposure yet to the business world. They're going to validate that your short-term goals are credible, achievable, and that you know how to go out there and get it. That you have an understanding of how the recruitment environment works, how desirable your background is, and all the ways in which you're going to need to grow to be able to achieve the goals that you say you want to achieve. If they're interviewing you and they have just a suspicion that you're not really ready to go after your post-MBA goals, or that you don't fully understand what those goals entail, or that you haven't taken the time to map your background to those goals, it's going to put you at high risk of landing in the ding pile. And then the third thing that they're going to validate is that NYU is truly the best school to help you achieve those goals, and not just needing to get your MBA in New York. Both of the New York programs are very mindful of the fact that kind of everyone and their dog wants to end up in New York. And so there are a lot of advantages to getting your MBA in New York. There are also disadvantages to getting your MBA in New York. For example, the campus is a bit dispersed. You don't get to have that insular collegiate experience that you might have at a school like Duke or a school like Tuck or even a school like Kellogg, where you're like with your classmates, you're together, you're in a space, you're not getting lost in a bigger city. But that can happen at these New York schools, and they don't want you to miss out on the unique offerings of their program just because you're dazzled by the idea of being in New York. So your proof for why NYU is the best school, what it offers that's unique for you, what are all the ways in which this program is going to advance your goals, have to extend way beyond just the New York City advantage and really dig deep into what this program uniquely offers you as you are attempting to achieve your specific goals. It's the number one mistake people make in many different applications, but in any of the applications to either of the New York schools, really the biggest mistake that you can make is having an undeveloped, weak career game plan. And otherwise, get to work. Get to work on your dreams. The whole reason you're applying to business school is because you've got big dreams. So do the work now to figure out what those are and what is the most likely path you're going to take to get there through the NYU program, and be ready to talk about that in inspiring detail in that very coveted interview conversation, and you're going to do great in the NYU Stern application process. I'm wishing you all the best. I'll see you right here next week on MBA Monday.
Great.
Let me just make sure that I didn't say something wrong.
That was, coming from
Old school.
Coming from the other videos, just going bam.
Yeah, old school tight. I mean, it's easier when I'm only trying to make one point, right?
It's like cycling downhill, It's like,
Yeah, that video is gonna have like 3 cuts, and it's where I had to repeat myself because I blurbed it.